How's it going, guys, and welcome back to the channel. This is Vlog coming to you with another video on Kengan Ashura. Now today I will be discussing the reason why Hatsumi had to lose the way he did, and the reason why he was not in my top 7 strongest characters in Kengan Ashura. Now before we get into this, be sure to like the video and subscribe. Kanaho Agito, known as the fifth fang of Matsudo, versus Hatsumi Shin, known as the floating cloud. This fight to some audience, including myself, didn't live up to its expectation, but ended up to be somewhat a disappointment. From the moment I noticed these two would be taking each other on, I was already at the edge of my seat because these two had amazing matches going into this fight. Agito fought Hokobu and Colon Hunksword. Now, even though they put up a good fight against the fifth fang of Matsudo, the fifth fang of Matsudo came out on top due to his brute strength and his adaptability to reform himself during battle. While Hatsumi fought Chiba Takayoki and easily defeated him in seconds, he also fought Bandu Yohi, which was the toughest battle he had, and didn't sustain any critical injuries, which means he was in a much better shape than Agito. And also the fact he was supposed to be the next fifth fang of Matsudo puts the icing on the cake, the reason why this fight should have been a good one, but ended up a disappointment. Now, here is what I think, okay? Here is what I think. From the audience perspective, I can see why, including myself, I can see why they think this way. From the audience perspective, some would say the reason why Hatsumi lost was because he had 2 good matches without taking much damage. He didn't take the fight with the fifth fang of Matsudo, Agito, seriously until it's too late. I mean, he is known as the floating cloud. His personality is similar to that of Shikamaru of Naruto, whom at first likes to relax and float like the floating cloud. And if you remember, Shikamaru had to lose that fight against Tomari due to the same character traits. Even Motabe Genzaiga, who has similar traits, put up a better match than Hatsumi. Now, audience like you and myself, that would be the perspective on how we felt about this, based on the fact that Hatsumi was supposed to be the fifth fang of Matsudo, which means he comes highly recommended, and due to his previous accolades, it was a little bit of a disappointment how he went about it, and due to the fact that his previous matches on Kengan Ashura Live for Dead tournament wasn't really too hard for him, right? And maybe that's the reason why he didn't take the match seriously. But from the maker of this show, Yabaku Sandrovich, right, from the writer, from the creator of this show, from his perspective, I think he was like, who would be much better suited to face the Devil Lance, Kuroki Gensai, Hatsumi or Agito? Who would put up a better fight? I think he was like, who would the audience love to see fight Gensai? And from his reasoning, I think he made a good choice, because if Hatsumi had fought Gensai, it would have been a worse, terrible, disappointing match. I mean, think about it. Hatsumi is the type that doesn't really like to take things seriously unless it's too late, but when he does take things seriously, he is much better off, coming out on top of things. But due to the fact that due to his characteristics, it would have been a disappointing match to take on Gensai, and each and every one of us would have been very, very upset due to that. I think Yaboku was like, due to the fact Agito had close calls during his matches, right, where his opponent put up a good fight to nearly beating him. It will make sense to make him look strong again in order to get him ready to face Gensai, which worked, right? It really worked. For this to work though, Agito had to learn from his mistakes. He had to reform his technique and improve himself, right? Which we noticed vividly during his fight with Hatsumi. Hatsumi and everyone, including myself, was on shock. Right? We were shocked the way Agito changed the whole game, the way he came out, the way he changed his move. No one was expecting that, and it threw Hatsumi off because Hatsumi was not sure how to take on this man, because I've watched him fight before. I have seen what he can be able to do. How come he's not fighting the way he was fighting? How come he's not showing the same traits that I'm used to, that I've noticed before, right? Now, with that being said, I am really hoping that Hatsumi has learned his lesson, and the reason why I'm saying this is due to the fact that they are making a new Kengan Omega. The manga is going on, or maybe it's done. I do not know. I'm not looking into that right now simply because I do not want to be spoiled. I'm going to wait till they animate Kengan Omega, simply because I do not want to be spoiled. But if Hatsumi is going to make it to Kengan Omega, if these characters that are on Kengan Ashura will make it to Kengan Omega, I'm really hoping that they will better their accolades. They will go and train. I definitely know that based on the fact that Hatsumi took that type of loss against Agito, based on the fact that he didn't really take the fight as seriously as he should, although the Fang had to reform himself, which threw Hatsumi off. I have faith in Hatsumi because I know what this man can do, and I will also use this opportunity to say that this is one of the reasons why I did not put him in my top 7 list on the strongest fighters in the strongest characters in Kengan Ashura Life or Death tournament. If you haven't seen the video, I will link the video in the description, or at the end of this video. I will link it at the end of this video so that you can go watch it. This is one of the reasons, if you guys were wondering, the reason why I did not add Hatsumi Shin was simply because of this, due to his character. Now, in the near future, if he betters himself, takes himself seriously, I will definitely add him in my top 7 fighters in Kengan Ashura, because the reason why because I was thinking about it and I was like, it's either I add Hatsumi or I add Imai Cosmo. Imai Cosmo always took things seriously, right? Imai Cosmo doesn't play, and the reason why Imai Cosmo was the 7th person instead of Hatsumi is simply because, based on his last fight, Imai Cosmo learned that if I am to get better, if I am to improve, I really have to go and train and reform myself, which he did, and which was the reason why he pushed Omar's buttons. He pushed Omar to the ropes for a little bit. And when he was on, when he took control of the fight at first, Omar was kind of stunned a little bit. Omar, not really stunned, but Omar was in shock. How is this guy keeping me down to this point, right? It took Omar a little bit to turn the tables during the match. So due to the fact that Imai Cosmo took things a little more seriously was the reason why I added him as the number 7th strongest fighter, you know, in the Kengan Ashura Life or Death tournament. Like I said before, it was going to be Hatsumi or Imai. I do have faith in Hatsumi because Hatsumi knows his stuff, but it's just that based on his character, even the manager, his manager even said it, that he has that characteristics or that character trait where he doesn't really take things seriously sometimes. He is very weird. He can be serious right now, and for some particular reason he will leave everything that he has worked so hard on and just go off and just go do his own thing. That's kind of Hatsumi's character, and with that kind of character, you know, should push comes to shove, if Hatsumi does not find the reason to continue pushing forward, he can easily lose his morale. He can not necessarily morale. He can easily lose his feeling or lose his edge, you know, to continue pushing forward. I'm not saying that Hatsumi don't take things seriously, but it's just that he has that characteristic taste for not taking things seriously sometimes, and in a fight that can cost you the fight, right? Which we see happen vividly. And again, I can also understand why that had to be done to Hatsumi in order to get Agito ready, the 5th Fang of Matsudo, ready in order to take on Gensai. Because the way Agito was going before, seeing his fight with Colin Wongsword, seeing his fight with Kohabu, right? Seeing his previous fights, the guys were landing punches on him. Guys were really hitting him. And the previous Fang of Matsudo told Agito that he has to see what he's made out of, because due to the fact that his previous fights, he allows fighters to hit him, right? He gets hit a lot, and that's no good, which was the reason why the previous Fang of Matsudo had to come in to train Agito or to spar with him, which Agito really shocked the previous Fang of Matsudo, and really showed that he is still the one and only Agito, or Konoha Agito. He is still the 5th Fang of Matsudo. He's not going anywhere. He's keeping his title. Now that's what I think about it. Yabuku Sandrovich, shout out to him for making such an amazing show. I believe that he put 2 and 2 together, and he figured out that Agito is much better suited to fight Gensai. And for the fact that Agito has that ability, that edge to be able to adapt to the fight, to be able to reform himself, to be able to reform his technique, to be able to go to the point where, you know, not everybody can, you know, is fit to go to that point. I believe that's the reason why he figured out that it's best suited for Agito, who is the 5th Fang of Matsudo, to take on Gensai, which was very, very amazing because it gave us an awesome match. I don't think Hatsumi would have given us that type of match. That is my take. Now, what do you guys think? What do you agree with me on these claims, or do you think Hatsumi should have been the one to win the match? Post your thoughts and let me know what you think. And on that note, keep on keeping on. See you in the next video.